It's Saturday. Um, the attacks have been just. Woke up this morning, had a whole slew of their weird ass emails, and I just archived all of them. Just didn't even really want to focus on it at all. Um, their bullshit has just gotten to be intense. Their little microwave weapons that they said they were going to use on American citizens are basically torture, and they have been awful, awful, awful. And I will not be surprised if the little weapons bring me down, because I have not felt well, and they're very difficult to deal with. Still, I have accomplished quite a bit, you know, in spite of them breaking into my house and going into my office and fucking with my clock. They finally broke the fucking thing. Just so appreciative, you know, fucking dumbasses. But that's what they are, you know, destructive little parasites, you know. Hide in the shadows as a group and tell themselves how spectacular each one of them are as individuals. And I just don't see it. And it's been incredibly difficult to deal with. And the reactions that I get are also difficult to deal with, because I've actually had people tell me, okay, so they came in and killed your friend. Why can't you just get over it? I've actually had that said to me by several people. And people just want me to drop it. I don't have a sign out in my yard anymore. I mean, at least there's that. But I'm fighting a child trafficking ring. That's the reason why they came in and killed Owen. And they do all of this weird stuff and make all these weird threats. And I think it's because they think, well, we did this and nothing happened. And so what happened with Owen isn't valid any longer. But I don't understand the logic in that. Well, maybe because around here people are dumbasses. But sending me live videos of my town and dancing around when my best friend drops over dead, and then later on, after you're called out, doing all this other weird stuff that doesn't amount to anything, it doesn't negate the original situation. It doesn't negate that. And the gas station explosion in Erling, Iowa, that's the YouTube account they got taken down. All of the videos that I did around that gas station, they wanted that specific station taken down. And they got it down, you know? And they're very good at manipulating this system. And you can say, I mean, okay, so maybe it's not the CIA, but you're telling me that Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, can't be paying people to actually fucking do the shit that they're doing to me. That is out of the realm of possibilities, I guess. And it's not like they're not in Iowa because of that whole weird ass fiasco last Christmas at the Capitol with their little Baphomet statue that looked like it was made out of tinfoil. And all of that. So they're obviously around, you know? Just to negate it, just because you don't want to think about it, because that's basically when people are saying, can't you just get over it? It's no, no, because the very premise of this is that I'm battling a bunch of child traffickers. No, I can't just get over it. That it's what kind of person would I be to turn my back and look the other way when I know that what was going on when I was a kid is still going on with other kids. And other kids, there's kids are disappearing all over the place. And the information's out there. You just have to want to go look at it. And around, I mean, if it's any indication of what I live around, a lot of these people have a lot of opinions. None of them are educated because they haven't asked one damn question. I don't get any questions. And when I do get questions, it's like the weird ass neighbor who asked me questions and then tried to talk about this person who supposedly had PTSD. Funny enough, the dude that I bought this house from, and was crazy. And it was just like, well, not all cases are the same, and I've had a lot of therapy. But the gas station explosion has really amplified a lot of the setups. And yes, they took the videos down, but the fact remains. The official report says that the place filled with gas, one explosion leveled the place. However, Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross is on video on KETV talking about the gas station explosion the day that it happened. And if you watch that segment that they did on the Erlin, Iowa gas station explosion, not only is Neil Gross on the video, but so am I. So am I. So obviously, I know a little bit about what was going on, and I knew more than what most people knew. You know, the fact that the deputy they had going after me, trying to go after me with the dogs, committed suicide a week and a half before, I don't think is coincidental. I do not think that it is a coincidence that with all the death threats and all the stuff that I was getting, that those men were across the street the Saturday before the gas station blew up. The gas station blew up Monday morning. But there were men across the street. At my sister's house, she had just bought that house. I lived right up a half a block, right on the highway still, right across the street basically from the gas station. I was just like a half a block down. And we were in COVID lockdown. Nothing was open. Nothing was open. For months, nothing had been open. But they woke up my neighbors. That's how I found out about it. All of the stuff that was going on. I just think that because all of that was going on, that it needs to be looked at a different light. Besides, the official report doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. And I know that this group of child traffickers wants to take me out in the worst way. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, lived 23 miles away from me in Washington, constantly tried to take me out, constantly tried to get at me. Easiest way to show that is when that protection order was taken out on me in Kent, Washington. That whole long list of videos, not a one of them had anything to do with the petitioners. Not a one of them. had anything to do with the petitioners, but only and solely dealt with Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. So unless there was a connection, how is that even possible? And so, but that's again, court documents. You can go check. It's not like it ain't there. You can go look. Public record. All those videos had nothing but to do with Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. And that was who was making threats in Erland, because I had gone through hell before the gas station explosion. What precipitated the gas station explosion is I think they took the opportunity to think that they would just get rid of my sister and me. Because she had, like I said, she just bought the house right across the street from the gas station. And so I think that's what pushed everything. But one explosion that levels the place is different than two explosions that happen 9.5 minutes apart. And you don't even have to look at the KETV thing. Obviously, people in Erland know that there were two explosions because Dan was able to get out of the gas station after the first explosion. He was able to get out of the gas station, realize that his brother-in-law was still in the gas station. He went back in to the gas station and got them both out safely. And then the second explosion leveled the place. And Dan was almost unscathed. I mean, he was okay. His brother-in-law, because he was in where it happened. And so, obviously, there are issues with the whole situation. And because there are such blatantly, glaringly huge discrepancies in what the official story is and what the actual truth is, all the other shit that I'm telling that was happening needs to be looked at. It just needs to be looked at. And when it's looked at, people will find out that the first explosion was caused by a bomb. That's how it worked. The first explosion happened at a bomb. There's a video on YouTube of the second explosion 9.5 minutes later. Because someone was filming the smoke coming from the gas station and caught the second explosion on video. And they were able to hide this gas station explosion like the whole shit with Owen. And I would have never thought of anything when they took out Owen. But they bragged about it and were sending me live videos of in town. And then when Owen's funeral was going on, I was downstairs making a video and they tried to get into my house. And I have that on video, Erling, Iowa gas station explosion. It was a terrorist attack by a group of child traffickers who were trying to take us out. Because my sister was kind of outspoken. They just figured they could get 2 for 1 and shut the whole thing down and shut it all up. Hey, Sherilyn. Cognitive. I'm just not. And so all of this is because of the child trafficking. And can I just let it go? Can I turn away? I've talked about it over and over and over. Years and years and years of therapy. And because it's been brought up, not judgmentally, obviously, but my therapist has asked me about it. And I told her, you're asking me why I can't just let all this go and go live my life and just basically ignore all of it and just put it out of my mind. I said, knowing what's happening and that it's still happening. And then how do I justify that when all of my life I have basically had a sort of contempt because nobody helps and everybody looks away. That's been my whole experience, my whole life. When I was a kid, growing up, during Franklin, during everything that was going on, all the way up to the whole situation with, how do I just turn away? What makes me different? I just won't, I can't be one of those people. I can't be one of the people who know what's going on. And I know what's going on and just look away because it's just too much of a bother. I just have better things to do than fight for a bunch of children who are being abducted and murdered. And it's not a game. And can't stop, won't stop. I didn't realize that actually, that I now know where you got that cognitive, but that's just it. Can't stop. Can't stop. And because I can't stop, I won't stop. Or I won't stop, so I can't stop. Either way, they're torturing me with their fucking microwave weapons right now as we speak. Just fucking blasting the shit out of me. My hair is just breaking off. It's just, I'm being tortured in my own home. These assholes will get into my house any fucking time they want. They dance and parade around wanting me to know who they are. It's funny because Pootie Twang, the Goblin Dowd, was saying, oh, David Shurter hands his book out to his neighbors like he's famous or something. I know because I've talked to his neighbors. But there's only one neighbor I've done that to. There's only one neighbor I actually offered that to. And funny enough, it's the same asshole who told me that they liked it when I turned my porch light off in the morning because they knew when I was still, if I was still fucking alive. It's all fucking connected. And my sheriff, I trusted until the gas station explosion when it was so blatantly obvious that I had been duped that I felt like a frickin' idiot. I should have known with everything that was going on and all the excuses as to why nothing could be done about it. And do I think they disbanded the Harlan Police Department because Yamada spent an hour and a half in my living room being recorded having a conversation, and that whole setup to get a protection order out on me from the person who's living both beside me and my sister in Early, in Iowa, or 15 miles away. She's 15 miles away, and she's in both places. It's just, and I can't release the video of Yamada because I would get in trouble because the shit that he told me, I can't release. I couldn't put out there. I would be in trouble for doing it. It was like, that whole setup was like dealing with the Keystone Cops. And they suddenly, when Harlan found out about it, there was no longer a Harlan Police Department. And they said it's because Yamada had a nervous breakdown, but it was the police department, dude. If someone has a breakdown, you just don't get rid of the whole department. Don't you just replace the person? You know? So saying that, oh, Yamada had a breakdown, so we had to get rid of a whole fucking police station doesn't really make sense. Oh, please, it was not. I live in Iowa. There is no defund the police movement where I live at all. Are you freaking kidding me? You know? There was no defund the police. You know? They don't like my signs out in the yard, but right around the corner, there's a dude that has a Trump sign out there, and he wrote JFK Jr. So he's one of the crazy QAnon people thinking the JFK Jr. is going to return from the fucking grave and get into politics. Still waiting, but he's okay. He's fine. He wrote JFK Jr. on his Trump sign in black magic marker, but my sign's trying to expose what's going on. That's just crazy. You know? Talking about the child trafficking ring that I'm trying to expose. That's just crazy. But the JFK Jr. dude that's right around the corner is totally acceptable. Normal. You know? Normal. That's the upside down world I live in. You know, that's the upside down world I live in. I don't have any signs out there now. I hated those signs. I did it because I was tired of people just making assumptions and not having my side out there. But now my side is out there. People know who I am. I'm almost somewhat infamous in town. And but I do right now, they're counting on being able to use my life of solitude against me. Because after Owen and then another friend that could have been something completely else, I can't get too close to people right now because it's not fair. Because it brings the fucking flying monkeys right along with me. And they end up attacking people. And I don't want to bring that into people's lives. And the intent was to have 666 in my birthday. I had to have 666 in my birthday. That's what they wanted. And I was born at 6 o'clock. I was actually born at 6:03 in the morning. Fill your heart with love. Exactly. Fill your heart with love. Don't ever surrender. The thing about right now is that it's our soul that's on the line. And what I'm dealing with in town in so many ways, C.S. Lewis has a really good book. This is not one of my favorite books, but if you want to know what's going on in kind of just a good parable of what's going on, read The Last Battle from C.S. Lewis. Yes, it's the very last book in the Chronicles of Narnia. And like I said, it's not my most favorite of C.S. Lewis's work. You know, I have to admit, probably one of my most favorite, and I've read a lot of C.S. Lewis, was the Screw Tape Letters. I loved the Screw Tape Letters. But The Last Battle explains, and so many people are like the dwarves in The Last Battle. It's a donkey controlled by a monkey who pretends to be a lion. And dwarves are in there, but the dwarves are for themselves, and it's just a good parable of what we're going through right now. It's a sad book to read because it's the end of Chronicles of Narnia, but it does explain, you know, a lot of what's going on. In fact, it's just funny how closely those books that they want to burn so bad are mirroring what we're dealing with. 1984, Orwell's 1984. It's just bizarre. Have never read that series. It's a really, C.S. Lewis wrote children's books with the Christian, because he was a Christian writer. So it's just, it's a winter solstice ritual. Yes. Yeah, I know. I know. We're in the worst period. That's the hardest thing is it starts with Halloween. Yes, I know it's pronounced Samhain, but most people don't even know about Samhain. Samhain. It starts with Samhain. And in my world, it escalated because your birthday is a big thing in the frickin' cult, especially my birthday. And so that's in December. Then Christmas. And then you go all the way up into Easter. And actually, Easter is worse than Halloween, to believe it or not. It is the opposite, the direct opposite of Christianity in so many ways. It's the exact opposite of Catholicism in so many ways. More so that than Christianity. And so it's a rough period. And my birthday always sucks. Christmas always sucks. The holidays always suck. I really don't. I'm just used to it anymore. I'm living a life of solitude, and so I have a feeling that all of this will be quite much easier for me now because there's no expectations of anything. I don't really want to do anything. It's interesting because for some reason in my algorithm, solitude and God comes up. It was bizarre how it worked, but I started just watching a few things, and they said most of God's chosen end up being solitary. It's because when you lead a life of solitude, you can't help but also have introspection because you have a lot of time to think and you only have yourself. And so a lot of introspection goes on. Eugene, Oregon. The whole thing about it is that I found Oregon and Washington, that whole area, Olympia, Washington, has a coven. Fucking nasty ass. The Pacific Northwest is inundated with Nazi Luciferians. And I will call them Luciferians, And it's funny because if anybody really wanted to check and find out, I would find out who has the license plate Azazel in Washington. Because it was either a Washington plate or an Oregon plate. But I know that bad guys came to visit me and the plate on their car was Azazel. So if I was looking to see if there were people involved with stuff that was going on, I might look at a license plate and see what license plate has Azazel on it because they're involved with the bad guys. And then I might, just as a fluke, because I'm just like that, see how many other license plates in how many other states have the name Azazel on them and see if they're connected. I'm just saying. That's what I would do. You know? Can't stop, won't stop. The thing that was in that weird mall portal thing, when they were talking about that portal thing, I don't know who they. All I know is that what they did with their little machines, they obviously have abilities to set up these. I don't know. I don't understand it. But when I went and journeyed, what I saw was the shadow beings that they had that were confused and didn't know where they were and all of that. That was part of the fallen. They found some of them. To me, when I watched that on TikTok and all of that shit, because it was just fascinating to watch, that's the reason why they want to get away from um, they want to get away from all of it. You know, I had some dealings with Fritz Springmeier years and years and years and years ago, and did not trust him. Did not trust him. It's the thing that is common with all of them, all of the bad guys, is their egos. And they think they are so much smarter than every single person they deal with. And they probably are, because a lot of them are very smart. The problem that very smart people have is that they start thinking that they're the only smart ones and everyone else is stupid. And that works only to a certain degree because there's always the exception to the rule. And you can find someone who is smart who will let you think they're stupid because it works in their favor to be considered stupid and an easy mark. And sometimes what you find is not that you're dealing with a wolf in sheep's clothing, but that's about what you're dealing with. You know? A dragon in sheep's clothing. Because underestimating every single person, thinking that you're always the smarter person in the room, first of all, it's isolating because you always have to be the smartest person then. But you may, that's not saying that there isn't someone in the room who's just as smart as you are. They may not be smarter than you, but they might be just as smart. And they may have grown up in a family full of fucking con artists. So they know a con when they see it. They see the people. That's the thing about with me is that going in and looking at this stuff. And I have dealt with them, my opposition, in my life, knowing they were bad people. But when they think you're stupid and you're an easy target, you can dupe them into just because they like to parade around. They like to just, woohoo, I'm so smart. It, if it was a movie, these idiots would fucking give you a 5-minute monologue on everything they're doing and how fucking smart they are. And they're going to do this and that. And you just haven't figured it out. And you just don't know when you're dealing with someone who actually knows the game and is just, it's more to their advantage to just act like an idiot. You learn so much more when people think you're a dumbass. You know, just so much more. And it's not a new game. You know, it's shit I was fucking trained to do. I'm not the only one who does it. There's a lot of people. Hold on. There's someone at my door. Sorry, everyone. My sister has come to visit. I gotta go.